When I was a little girl, my daddy was an executive for a major corporation, and so he traveled during the week. That meant my mom stayed home with four girls, and she did a fabulous job. But I also saw the wear and tear of taking care of four girls and not putting her own needs first. So on today's episode, we're going to talk about self-care. Self-care is such an important modality when it comes to each one of us living a long and healthy and purposeful life. But what does self-care really mean? And how do we handle the guilt that a lot of us women put on ourselves? We feel bad about putting ourselves first. So on today's episode, I have a wonderful guest. She specializes in teaching women, especially mommies, how to take care of themselves so that they can raise a productive, healthy family and be a wonderful, healthy human being. Stay tuned. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Your Best Life. I'm your host and healthy living correspondent, Beth Schomp. The term self-care, well, it's a term that kind of makes a lot of sense. It kind of speaks for itself. And yet when you start thinking about what does it mean, it gets really fuzzy. And yet it's a very important part of our overall health. It's a modality that we need to take seriously in living a long, healthy life. So on today's episode, I have invited a wonderful woman. Her name is Tiffany Martin. Now, Tiffany is the host of a podcast, Talk with Tiff. But more importantly to this episode, Tiffany is a mom of five. She has spent over a dozen years in counseling other women. And so I thought she would be a perfect guest on our show today. So welcome, Tiffany. So glad to have you on here.
Thank you so much for having me, Beth. I'm delighted to be here.
Of course. So to get us started, tell us a little bit about you and your background and what led you to discovering this passion for helping other women.
Absolutely. So, as you stated, I have a degree in counseling, a background in counseling, and I did that for over a decade. I really enjoyed helping other people, working with people through their, life difficulties and things of that nature, just to rise and be on top. And as I progressed in that, I, got married. I've been married for about 11 years now, and we started having children. And as I started having children, one after the other, as you may know, and any other moms watching can attest to the fact that children can be very demanding and take up a lot of your time and energy to where you feel like you're not able to care for yourself because you're so devoted and so just engulfed in taking care of this new life. Well, one after the other, by the time I got to five, I realized, in the course of that if I did not take care of myself, that I would eventually fall apart and not be able to take care of my children or my husband in the way that I wanted to. And so I just set out on a mission to help other women recognize and realize, link arms with them to know that, hey, we can build a community, we can join forces, and we can become stronger and better together so that we can serve even better than before. So
that's so good. And women do like to feel a part of a community. I think you have really started to, nail that. So let's start with the overarching question of self-care. What does self-care really mean?
Yeah, I think that's the best place to start, because a lot of times when we hear the term self-care, we might think, oh, going to the spa, or, oh, I'm going to go get my nails done. And while those things do fall in the realm of self-care, I think just stripping it down to the basics and really just coming up with the term, you're taking care of yourself. So what does that mean to you? Maybe you do like going to get your nails done and going to the spa. That might be a form of self-care. But self-care could also be something like taking care of your mental health. Maybe that's reading a book. Maybe that's taking a bath. Maybe that's, sitting in silence for 10 minutes, right? These are all forms of self-care that I don't think that we all take the time to realize, because we've got this overarching view. Part of it is from social media too, on what we're being shown self-care can be. True. But self-care is very simple. It means taking care of yourself. It could be a hot shower. It could be, doing your makeup, whatever it means to take care of yourself, eating healthy, right? These are all parts of self-care. So self-care, basic, stripping it down to the bare minimum. And where we really need to start is taking care of yourself.
And, I think, and I know you would agree with this, self-care means different things to different women. And I say women because I think women, this topic matter is really more conducive to women. And I'll tell you, for me, now my mom, I was one of 4 daughters, and my mom was a stay-at-home mom, and my dad was an executive, and he traveled all during the week. So in many respects, mom was a single parent, and she did a great, great job. But yet, as a child, I could see the stresses that she put herself under, quite frankly, by not taking care of herself. And so I remember thinking to myself, I will be a better wife. I will be a better mom if I take care of myself first, because I could tell she wasn't doing that. She was putting her kids in front of her own needs. And for me, part of self-care was having a career, because it was feeding that inner need that I had. So I think self-care can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different women.
Absolutely. And I agree with that 1000%. And it doesn't necessarily mean, I feel like people think self-care means me first, me only, but that's not the case. They tell you when you're on an airplane that if you have young children with you or anybody else that you need to take care of, our instincts might say, I need to take care of them first to make sure that they're okay. But in reality, you have to put your own oxygen mask on first, because if you run out of oxygen trying to help them out, you both are going to go down. Whereas if you get your oxygen mask on first, you have the capability, you have the energy, you have the ability to help anybody and everybody else around you. So that's what self-care means.
So that leads us to, and you started to touch on it, the next question, which is, what are the benefits of practicing good self-care?
So I think one of the biggest benefits is not burning out. Okay. And I'll link it to this, right? And as maintaining and taking care of yourself. When you drive a vehicle, right? You have your vehicle, it's a prized possession. It's not even as valuable as you yourself are. But we all know we have to take our vehicle in for maintenance, scheduled oil changes, rotating the tires, getting the brakes fixed when they get to a certain point in time. Something as simple as putting gas in your tank. You know that if you start to get close to empty or get to empty, when you run out of fuel, you can't go anywhere else. Right. And a lot of times that's self-care for us, right? The maintenance are the things that might be like going to get your nails done every 3 weeks, or going to shop every month, or whatever it is. Maybe going to get a coffee out of the coffee shop, or hanging out with a girlfriend this date, or going on a girls trip every month. That's the maintenance, right? That's the oil changes, the
recharge.
The recharge, the tire rotations, all of that stuff. Self-care in its basic form, what we need to do is filling up the tank, right? If you don't have a full tank, you're not going to go anywhere that you want to go. You're going to be put along on the side of the road. You're not going to be able to carry anybody else with you. You're not going to be able to transport anybody else to where they need to go. So, the benefits are not burning out. The benefits are being a nicer and a kinder and a better person to the people around you. When you're on E, you're probably more irritable. You are not thinking as straight. Your mood changes. And then there's even health benefits. If you're not taking care of yourself, you can suffer major health benefits, which in turn is not going to serve anybody else around you. So those are just a few of the benefits.
You can deplete yourself. If you put yourself under undue stress, you're going to deplete your body of very important nutrients. So it makes so much common sense. So then why are women so hesitant why do they fight this concept of taking care of themselves?
I think a lot of women fight it because they feel guilty. They might feel mom shame, or they feel guilty when they take that moment, because in essence, when you take a moment for yourself, you're saying no to everybody else and any other obligation. And in our society, we've been conditioned to believe that we have to give everything to everyone else, especially first. And I am a woman of faith, and I believe that, I'm called to serve and I'm called to lead in that way. But I've also recognized that, even in my faith, I need to take time away to recharge. God rested on the seventh day, I should rest too. That's an amazing example. And that's the best way that I'd like to put it, is that, we think that maybe we're not even worthy of having that time to rest because we need to cook for our children or take care of them or do this or do that. When in reality, if we take just a moment and say, I'm going to pause right now. I'm not saying no to you because I don't love you. I'm saying no right now because I need a moment, and then recharge and go forth, and it'll be better. And like I said, that's something about community too. When you get around a community of women who say, hey, this is okay. Hey, let's recharge together. Hey, check in on you. Have you recharged yet? These are all things that I feel like could help us, in terms of overcoming that guilt that we might feel.
Hi, sorry for interrupting the show. I just wanted to take a moment to let you know about one of my passions other than hosting this show. I belong to an exclusive wellness shopping club, and I've done so for over 20 years. I trust them with my health and my family's health. This club provides US-made, safe, affordable health, household, beauty products, things that we use every single day. Anyway, I'll let you get back to the show, but if you have any questions about joining, I provided info below. Bye.
To me, it makes logical sense that self-care needs to become a habit for all of us. So let's talk about some healthy practices of self-care that we can develop into regular habits.
Absolutely. So I feel like one of the best things that you can do is to create an evening and morning routine. It doesn't have to be super structured or super, influencer type, right? You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. and do cold plunges and read for 10 hours and go to the gym for this long, right? You do what's right for you, and you start small. That's the key, is to start small, right? So for me, I like to wake up just a little bit earlier than my kids. I need that, even if it's 10 minutes, it's nice to be in 10 minutes of silence. I like to make myself a cup of coffee. That is self-care for me, and read for about 10 minutes in the morning, right? Read a book. A lot of women ask me, Tiffany, how have you already read 10 to 12 to 15 books this year? I read a couple minutes every day, in the morning, at night. That's part of my routine, in the morning and at night, right?
That's a great example.
Just taking little pieces of your day and recharging yourself. I like to read actual hard copies of books, right? I've got my bookmark. It makes me happy. I read.
I used to do, when my children were young, that's when I would do a Bible study. I would get up early in the morning. My husband thought I was crazy because why would I give up that extra sleep? But it was just something that was my way. I honestly did not see it as self-care at the time, but in retrospect, it was. And so, because it was something that I was doing for me. So,
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. Drinking water. I drink a lot of water throughout the day. That's a form of self-care because I'm taking care of my body. Maybe it's exercising. Maybe you say, I want to take charge of my health. I'm going to exercise for 20 minutes today, right? 20 minutes 3 times a week. You make it part of your schedule and say on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, right? We can find 20 minutes in our day, even if it's 10 minutes, making that time. Every night I like to take a shower. Some people like to take a bath and read in the bath. You just incorporate those little pieces into your day, and you'll see that you'll start to crave them, right? You'll start to do all that. And one more practice that is really easy, and that comes, that can make your day, is doing a gratitude practice. Writing 3 small things that you're grateful for every day. It can be at night before you go to bed, in the morning when you wake up. Sometimes I'm grateful for something as little as having coffee to drink. Other times, I'm grateful for something as great as having my children and my husband alive and healthy, right? So these are all things that we have access to and that we can do. You don't have to spend a lot of money to do it. You can incorporate this into your everyday. And I promise you, if you start to make these little changes every day, something's going to turn around in your life.
When you were talking about things like taking a shower, taking a bath, and things like that, I can see our audience going, I have to do those things. Maybe that's part of the issue, is changing our mindset a little bit. Instead of looking at, I got to go take a shower, it's the end of the day and I got to take a shower, so I got to go get ready for bed. It's, I get to take a shower. This is my time. I get to get ready for bed. Take a moment to, which body lotion am I going to put on tonight? Those sorts of things. It's a matter of looking at those activities that, we're going to do anyway, but then embracing them with gratitude. As you're saying before. So,
and then even maybe taking a little bit longer. Maybe instead of taking a quick shower, you take a 5 to 10 minute shower. Maybe it's changing up your shower, the items you get, and saying, I'm going to splurge a little bit. I'm going to get new bath salts. I'm going to get bath bombs. I'm going to buy some candles. I'm going to buy some new lotion. I'm going to buy expensive shampoo. Whatever it is, you can upgrade the things that you're already doing to make it more exciting.
When my children were young, and they're in their 30s now, so I've kind of been down that road. But when they were young, we got caught into that busy, crazy mom, dad schedule, and I felt like this. I needed to schedule in date time. So even though it's that date night, and even though that wasn't just for me, or just with me, that was with my husband, that was part of my self-care, is because having that, just give me that attention as opposed to the family. I needed that one-to-one. And I remember talking with my husband about it, and my husband's a wonderful man, but at the time he didn't understand the need for it. And, he kind of saw it in terms of, we don't have time to do a date night. But I stood my ground because I knew that was so important. And initially we started off, a date night was once a month. But now, and for years, we've had date night once a week. And we just celebrated our 40th wedding anniversary. But the point I want to make on that is that I had a need. And that was part of my need of self-care. Is I needed that relationship to be nurtured more. And that's what I mean. Self-care means different things to different people.
No, and I love that you even said that, because from a counseling perspective, that's actually one of the biggest things that I used to see in children who had issues or who were going through something rough. If the relationship with their parents was not solid, or was not, there was not a union there, or they were fighting, or there was some turmoil with their parents, and not having that relationship, like you said, it trickled over into the children. So it's actually a great thing to not only nurture yourself, like you were saying, but to nurture whatever relationship you're in, because that's going to also benefit your children, your family unit, everybody who's involved. So yes.
I just received today a card from my youngest daughter wishing us happy anniversary. And she has said this multiple times. Thank you for showing us. Thank you for modeling for us what a loving marriage means. And then she goes into a lot of different flowery examples. But kids are watching. And so, I watched my mom, and I realized she's doing the best she can. I wasn't judging her. I just knew I don't want to be that way. And so I knew I needed to shake things up for me. Well, this leads us into the last question. Is we've alluded to the benefits of it, but what do you see if we as women, and regardless of what generation you're in, if we don't embrace the concept of taking care of ourselves through self-care, what do you see the long-term impact that it's going to have on society?
I see a major decline if we don't take care of ourselves, because we'll be running on fumes and will not have the capacity or the capability to put our best foot forward, to lead, because that's what we are. When you decide to become a mother, you don't just decide to raise a human life. You decided at that moment that you were going to become a leader, and that you were going to have a part in either changing the world for the better or for the worse, right? And so it's our mandate and our calling to raise up mighty generational leaders, that are going to take whatever society you're in. I don't even know who's going to watch this broadcast. It could be global, whatever. Whoever's watching, you have the capacity and the capability to literally change the world, because you have direct influence into somebody who's going to be our hope for tomorrow. And so if you're not leading from a place that you're taking care of and you're able to pour out, the best of you to the people around you, then there's going to be a major decline, and it'll be tomorrow I don't want to see.
Right. I totally agree with you. So Tiffany, I love all your viewpoints on this. And I think what you have coming down the pike is very, very exciting. So at the close, why don't you share with our audience some of the things that you have coming down the pike and how people can reach out to you, because this is very, very important. And I know a lot of, especially young moms, are going to want to tap into some of the things that you have to offer. So how can people reach you?
Absolutely. So I actually am on LinkedIn every single day. If you want to stop by there, you can find me at linkedin.com/I am Tiffany Martin. I also have a website. You can reach out to me there, tiffanymartin.co. Down the pipeline, as you were mentioning, I've got an amazing club called the Sophisticated Mommy Club. It is moms only, and we come together and we have kind of like a book club where we're able to discuss the book of the month. I actually handpick a book every month, and it gets sent out in these cute pink little boxes. You get a book every month, a personalized reading plan, along with a surprise self-care item. And we hop onto Zoom kind of like this, and we, go back and forth and talk about all of the amazing things that are going on in our lives, the challenges, the struggles. We talk about it all. And the doors are opening September 17th, 2023 to get into the club. If you want more details, want any more information on that, you can sign up for my newsletter. You can find it on LinkedIn in the featured section of my profile, or you can click the top link on the website, and it's right there. And I'll also give you some details if you want to put it in the description here, just some links that they can follow.
That'll be great. That's wonderful. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Now, if you will please like this video, would love it if you could subscribe to the channel, because when you do those things, it really helps our numbers. It helps us reach more people and help more people. And quite frankly, that's the name of the game. If you have any further questions, you can also reach me directly at yourbestlife9@gmail.com. Until next time, be happy and be healthy.